Hey everyone, Jason Brizuela here, I'm sure that you're pretty surprised by the setting. It's a little bit different than what you've seen before, but I decided to do it a little bit differently using a practice pad and my bass pedal resting up against the couch here. And what I'm going to show you today is the very first exercise that I was ever taught. Pretty much the moment that I realized that I wanted to play drums for the rest of my life. And it was I was at a Christian rock concert, and I was just speechless the entire time, you know. And it was after the concert, and the drummer let me. It was just at our church, so it was a really not quiet setting. It was a loud setting, but it was very just really low key because the only people that were there were people. I think it was just our youth group, maybe one or two other youth groups, but anyway, so I was back there and he was showing me his drums and he was just pointing everything out, and I was just dumbfounded the entire time. I was starstruck, I guess, you know, just by the thought of possibly doing that someday. And so he showed me this exercise, and so I'm going to show it to you right now. So what he said to do was is to hit the bass drum with your foot on the downbeat, on the beat of the measure, like that. So that's the downbeat right there. And then he said to put two notes using your right and your left hand in between each of those downbeats. I'm going to slow it down a little bit more. So it's going to go like this. So something like that. And this is, like I said, the very first thing I was ever taught, and it's the very first thing I ever worked on that was more of an exercise type of a thing rather than working or practicing on a drum beat. This was more like an exercise, and it got me comfortable with working between my different hands and my foot. And let me think. Oh, the the context in which he showed me was more using the tom toms with your hands and working around the tom toms that way. But as I was practicing that around the tom toms, I also kind of started working in just using the snare drum. And what I discovered was that uh, by just playing it on the snare drum, I could hear a lot of I guess the mistakes that I was making. It just really, when you do something on just the snare drum, it really brings out any sort of uneven notes that you're playing, or if anything is to get the two together and not spaced out enough. It brings all that out so much easier. Um, it also kind of helps just to stay on one drum, whether it be on the tom toms or on the snare. So anyway, one of the things that you want to look out for is make sure that all of your notes are even. It's really easy to have a tendency to go something like this. So the way that you can do that is just by going really slow. And I mean, even slower than that if you have to. And then as you get more comfortable with it, you can speed up a little bit. So the trick is that if at any time that you do speed up and you start to hear the notes becoming uneven or just something that doesn't sound right, always slow it back down. And even another thing that you want to keep in mind too is to play quieter. It's a lot more challenging to play controlled when you're quiet. When you play more quietly, and yeah, I mean it helps you be more controlled when you play softer. I think that's pretty much all I had for today. I'm definitely going to expound on this quite a bit because as I've been practicing that exercise over the years, I've kind of created a lot of variations of that exercise. So I'm really looking forward to showing that to you. And that's it. Thanks, guys.